In our last video, we created this custom motion guide, and if we click and drag across, we can see that our shape is following it. If we hit Control Enter to test our movie, we can see how that looks without the guide there. And I'm going to save this into our project files folder. We'll go to File, Save As, and I'm going to save this as custom motion guide.fla. So if you want to open up custommotionguide.fla and follow along in this video, we're going to talk about how we can take this animation and cause our arrow here to automatically rotate and face the direction that it's moving. And this is actually very, very easy to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on our animation in the timeline, anywhere on the timeline, and then under the rotation section, we can see this little option here called Orient to Path. And if we check that, you'll automatically see something happening there. First of all, you'll see that tons and tons of little keyframes have been added here, and those keyframes are basically keyframes for rotation. And if we click and drag back to the beginning and start dragging across, we can see that animation occurring. Now you can see that it's not always facing the exact direction that we would expect it to, and we can actually fix this by going to the beginning of the animation. Let's zoom in, and at the very beginning of the animation we want to take our object and rotate it so that it's facing in the right direction. So let's hit Control Z to undo this Orient to Path that we've already created here. So we'll hit Control Z a couple of times until we see that it's no longer orienting to path, and then we'll click on frame 1, click on our shape. We'll go to the free transform tool, and then we will rotate this so that it's pointing in the direction that it's facing. Then we'll go to the last keyframe, and we'll need to scroll over there. And in the last keyframe, we see it should be pointing down a little bit, so we'll rotate it down a little bit better. So now when we hit Control 1 to zoom out, scroll over, and then click on your tween anywhere along that timeline and click on Orient to Path. Now that orientation is going to work a little bit better, and it's going to be facing the right direction the entire time. So now we can hit Control Enter again to test our movie. We can see a much more powerful animation. And if we were to take all of this and put it all together and do all of this at once, you would see that creating this entire animation from scratch would really, you could do it in less than a minute. So Flash CS4 definitely has some very, very powerful tools for creating custom animations. So that covers it for orienting your animation to the path. In the next video, we'll talk more about animating in Flash.